All right, we have made it. Number 9. This is going to be the last video, and this one's going to be the shortest because the only thing that we need to discuss is what does a level 5 unit conversion look like? And to repeat something that you would have gotten in the last video, I don't have any new rules to teach you. All I need to do is lay out, look, this is what the overall unit structures are going to look like, and then you use all of your rules for setting things diagonal, putting exponents where they belong, carrying out the calculation properly, putting the right values for conversion factors in the right spots, and then you see if you get the right answer. Okay? And before I get into the structure, I want to reiterate when you're going, why the hell did you put us through the meat grinder with all this? I look at unit conversions as like adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing in math. And if somebody comes in and says, yeah, I've had this science class, and you have to do some kind of interact with some kind of unit conversion or the metric prefixes or doing a math calculation that's already structured, and you're going and you're I'm not sure what, but it's like, really? You really took a class and didn't get that out of it? You're not, it doesn't make you look very bright coming in. So this is one of the reasons why I painstakingly go through this, because if somebody says they've had a physics class and they don't know, they aren't comfortable with units and unit conversions, it really makes me question, what do you know? Okay, so what makes a level 5? The only difference between level 4 and level 5 is we are going to only have 3 things, A, B, and C. But now we have 3, and 2 of the 3 are going to carry the exponents. So this is one possible structure. Here is another. Here's a second. And then here is a third. Now there are 3 more, but the only difference is they're the inverse versions of this. So we would have A squared or cubed over B squared or cubed times C, or A squared or cubed over B to the first power times C squared or cubed, or A is the first power, and then we have B squared or cubed times C squared or cubed. So this is it. And to make this short, because the worksheet for these level 5 conversions, they're only 6 problems long. I guess I'm going to go ahead and say I will do one of them just in case you want to see this. But at this point, you can decide whether, I can do them. I can do them on my own. So I'll go ahead and do one from the conversion 5 worksheet. And then your job is to do the others. Now, we will not get into any conversions that look any nastier than any of these structures. But there are some units that we will get to that have this structure. You don't know them by their official names. You know them by nicknames, and we will talk about that as we get to them in our course of study this year. But if you're looking at this going, I know exactly what to do, you can dive right into the worksheet. I'll go ahead and tell you I am going to do problem number 4 so you can see a setup for one of these. But if you're like, oh, I think I can do these without looking at the problem, you can kind of tune out, quickest video ever, and we're done. Okay? So if that's the case, have at it. Okay? For those people who think, oh, I need to see one of these done, We are going to look at number 4, which is 2.69 E5, and we are doing this is what it officially looks like. And then we have the slash, and on the bottom we have centimile cubed. Okay? Now, I used parentheses to try and group things together, so hopefully you write them down the right way. Now that we have it, we don't need to do that. And what we are going to convert this to is, let's see, pounds squared times seconds over kilometers cubed. Okay? Now for those people who are bothering to watch this one, I will point out, you'll notice I have the same exponent pattern on both sides. It is impossible to convert and like lose or add an exponent. So if you started with a squared times the first power over a cube, you have to have that same pattern in your final units. Or else you need to be raising your hands and asking, am I missing something, or did something not get written down correctly? All right, now I'm going to really have to use some colors. So let's, we'll go green, red, we'll go green, red, and blue. All right, and I'm going to erase this level 5 thing because now things are a little more complicated. All right, so we need to go from milligram to pound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from milligram to gram, and then I'm going to go gram to pound. And technically this will be squared because of that. Now here's where some people looking at this, you could say, what's this DAY thing? In this case, it literally means a day. Because, and if you're trying to figure out how do I know that, we need to convert this to seconds. So that means this is a time unit. But I do have some people who remember their metric prefixes who go, wait, couldn't that be a deca year because of the Y? If it was a year, there'd be an R. I believe there'd be an R after that. So that's how you could figure out this is literally a day. So what we're going to do here, let's see, I'm going to do green here. We are going to go from a day to hours, and then we'll go hours to seconds. This is where I will tell you, if you have that eclectic understanding of how many seconds are there in a day, you might be able to do that in one step instead of two, but I'm going to do my structure thing. All right, last one, centimile to kilometer, and it's cubed. We're going to go centimile to mile cubed, and then we are going to go to the kilometer cubed. All right, so now we got this thing mapped out, and so we can set it up. So I'm going to start way over here because this will get kind of long. 2.69 E5, and we're going to start with we got milligram squared. I'm going to keep this officially color-coded correctly, times day, fraction bar, centimile cubed. So now we're going to start by doing the milligram to pounds. So we got to do diagonal to gram, it's squared, and we need to go one more. Now this is where I don't think this was one of the official ones I gave you, but hopefully it can come in handy. And it's not drastically different from some conversion factors that you might see. And that's grams to pounds. So our milligrams canceled, our grams have canceled, so we're good to go. So we just got to put the right numbers in. Milli, -3, gram, 0. So gram is bigger. This is getting the E, and 0 and -3 are 3 apart, so we're good to go there. Pounds and grams, this is one. I remember this one. I think the other one is, no, I take that back. This is the one that we would go with. All right, so that takes care of the milligram to pound. So we move on to the day thing. So day has to go here. So we can go to hours, and then we can go from hours to seconds. So our day cancels, our 2 hours cancel, and we're left with seconds. So 1 day is 24 hours, 1 hour, 3,600 seconds. So we're good to go there. Now we go to our final one, centimile. We go centimile to mile, and then we would be going mile to kilometer, and this one is cubed. And so centi, -2, mile, 0. So mile is bigger, so it gets the 1, and the centimile gets the E. 0 and -2 are 2 apart, so we go there. And mile kilometer, this is one of those English metric ones that you would have to memorize. 1 over 1.61. Or if you like the other version, you'd have a 1 with the kilometer and a 0.62 with the mile. Okay, now we're all set up, so it's time to go ahead and process the calculation. Now, if you paid attention last time, I did talk about how it is possible to simplify sometimes some calculating, because you can have some cancellations that happen that can be convenient, again, if they're diagonal. There is one in here, but I'm not going to point it out because I'm gonna try and be rigorous here. So if we work left to right, we end up with, we got to divide by E3, and that has to be squared, and then we have to divide by the 454, and that is going to be squared. Then we have to multiply by the 24 and multiply by the 3,600. And we switch colors. We have to multiply by E2, and that's cubed. And then we have to divide by 1.61, and that's cubed. So you get on your calculator, 2.69 E5. And just in case anybody ever, was confused about this, sometimes I'll have people ask, do I need to do any squaring or cubing on this first number? And the answer is no, because that has already been taken care of. This number you start with. If there was any squaring or cubing, it already happened to generate this number. So you do not have to do anything with this first number. You just start with it, and then you start to do whatever your setup tells you to do. So we start with this value, and we divide by E3 squared. Then we divide by 454 squared, times it 24, times 3,600, times E2 cubed, divided by 1.61 cubed, and the number that I am getting is 2.70 E4, and the value on the worksheet, it says 2.69, but again, that means I might have generated the key using some different conversion factors between the mass conversion and the length conversion. There's not too much wiggle room for the hours and the second thing. And our final units would be pounds squared times seconds over kilometers cubed. Okay? So, there's number 4 done. Your job is to practice with the remaining 5. I do find it sometimes a little funny that by the time we get to level 5 stuff, I find people are more likely to get it correct because they seem to be like more focused with all this chaos to make sure everything's put together right, and they are less successful on simpler conversions because I don't know if they get lazy or careless because it doesn't look as complicated. So stay sharp, remember all the rules. I forget what video number we did our level 3 stuff at, but basically once we finished our level 3 video, you had all the rules you need to do this. You just need to apply them correctly. All right, so, whew, we made it. So now when you get to class, just remember, I'm going to be asking you to do this. And remember, I want it to look like this if you want full credit. Down the road, people will be able to say, hey, you can skip it, but that's because you've gotten so good at it. It's like second nature. All right, thanks. We'll see you when school starts. Bye.